are back with ForeverFootballShow.com. Now we are recording here from the Seattle Center. You can still come here to enjoy Brazil Fest, organized by the Seattle Center, Brazil Fest, Brazil Center, and a series of other sponsors. All this event is organized by non-profit organizations, all with the help from volunteers, performers that come here as well. So it's a great opportunity to interact and see the Brazilian community showing their culture, showing their music. And if you come here, you'll still have time to see some samba, some dancers, some beautiful dancers with very tiny bikinis as well.
You would be the one to point that out.
Of course. Aaron, let's go talk about going from short bikinis to a tight work that the Sounders are pulling, the tight mission that the Sounders are pulling out. Tell us about it, the last game against Chivas. What else happened in that game?
Well, you know, it was a tough game. Chivas, historically, we've had trouble against. We've never beaten them. We've never even scored against them, and that continued. Although positive, you know, we didn't concede either, which was good. But you know, we came really close. Nayasi hitting the post. Alonso having a beautiful, beautiful strike from outside the area. I don't know if you saw that. I honestly thought it was going in, but you know, Zach Thornton was up to it and made probably, you know, easily the save of the week, possibly the save of the season.
Yeah, but for a moment I was thinking that Sounders, they didn't want to lose. They want just playing for tie, and you know, to keep to stay undefeated. That's was their goal, and I guess they got it.
Yeah, it was a game on the road against a tough team, and I think what matters the most is the trend. The team is playing really well now, and the next game home is actually it's the CONCACAF Champions League, right?
Yep.
We face Monterrey.
Monterrey, yeah, on the 25th.
So I think there's been a lot of information sharing about what the CONCACAF is. Some people even thought that the last game against Metapan was another of the friendlies. Tell us about the CONCACAF. What is going on? What does this represent for the Sounders?
So the Sounders just had to go through qualifying stages for the CONCACAF Champions League. The U.S. Open Cup, which winning that was their ticket in, but only got them so far as the qualifying rounds. And so now they're into the group stages. They're joining up with everybody else. So now all the teams in the tournament are going to be starting their group matches. There's 2 legs against each team. So our first one is against Monterrey on the 25th, which will be a tough match and an interesting one.
That's what I'm a little bit concerned about the CONCACAF Cup for the Sounders, though, because do you think they have enough players to play in 2 competitions?
3, because they are also in the final against
semi-final U.S. Cup against Chivas. You know, it's tough to say. As long as we get our injured guys back, which is a shame. We just had Evans added to the disabled injury list. But you know, if we get those guys back and we keep our players healthy, I do think we have a decently deep squad, and we can do that. And looking at the fixtures, fortunately, they're not too congested. There's typically, you know, 3 to 4 days rest between fixtures. The Champions League is pretty spread out, which is nice. So hopefully, you know, they don't get too worn down. I know maybe that could have been a symptom at Chivas.
Yeah,
because so far they've been playing already. They've been varying a lot. You know, the teams that play the U.S. Open Cup, MLS, and the CONCACAF.
And I mean, really, there's only potentially two games left in the U.S. Open Cup. So there's not much time left in that competition. Champions League is just starting up, obviously. So there's a lot left to go on that. And really, that could be the competition that makes the MLS a little bit sticky getting into the playoffs.
So we'll see. And more than anything, cheer a lot for the Sounders.
Yeah,
because we have three big fronts battles to win.
And hopefully, you know, Montero stays healthy as well. I know that was one thing for me, is looking at the statistics. He's been involved in, I think, the past, like...
the guy's on fire.
an insane amount. You know, the proportion of our goals, I think he's been involved in like 19, which is insane. And so that's a little bit worrying that he is involved in so much. That's great for him, but a little bit worrying for the Sounders because like against Chivas, he gets knocked down by Thornton and is basically taken out of the game, and our offense more or less disappears with him.
Do you think that Montero could be especially motivated because of the window of European transfer that goes until August 31st? Sort of like, let me show everything now and try to go to Europe this August.
I don't think so. I think he's just thriving in Ljungberg's exit. Really, I think the spotlight's now on him as kind of the big star of the team,
and the position that he's playing, the field, facing and creating plays.
He's kind of taken over Ljungberg's role, more or less, as kind of that playmaker and goal scorer. And it's good to see that from Montero. And I don't think he's necessarily thinking of overseas. I think he had such a poor start to the season that I don't know that there's necessarily a lot of outside clubs looking at him.
No, I threw that out there just to check, but I don't believe. It's not what I believe. Just for how he's been celebrating the goals. He's really he's a Sounders at heart now, as any other fan.
You know, and I think it helps with him playing so well. You know, I know he's a very emotional player, so with him on this high, I think the spirits are up, and the more love he's going to show to the Sounders.
All right, so we're going to close with the MLS now. We're going to talk a little bit about Brazilian soccer, and the next segment we'll talk about Europe. Brazilian soccer, just because I was there checking it out. What's going on there is that the tournament, it's becoming a tournament in Brazil. It's always very, very distributed. Many teams have chances. It's not like, Spain or Italy, that the same 3, 4, 5 are always on top. In Brazil, it's up for grabs until very late in the game. But this year is actually becoming a horse race between Corinthians and Fluminense. Interestingly enough, Corinthians is the team that Mano Menezes, the new Brazilian coach, used to coach. And Fluminense is where Muricy Ramalho is, the one that received the first invitation. So Mano Menezes left the team on top, but Fluminense now passed and today opened 4 points ahead of Corinthians. Just to give you context, Muricy Ramalho won before the last championship. He had won the 3 previous ones. He's really good in this kind of accumulated points league style. While for me, Mano Menezes is better in knockouts, in playoffs, kind of elimination rounds. So it's looking like Muricy Ramalho will accumulate another one in Brazil. Comments about Brazilian soccer, what you've seen from the Brazilian players in that game?
I saw the game against the United States, and I was really impressed by the Brazilian team. And as we were saying before the show, with that team, really Brazil had more chance to win the World Cup. And these guys are just amazing, and they play so well. They are so eager and motivated to play. And maybe it's what really missed to Brazil during the World Cup. They were a good team, but they never impressed me too much.
They didn't have a bench. These kids could have very well have been in the bench to change games,
Definitely.
And they were not.
And that's what I was impressed with. Is I think there were 3 players that had carried over from the World Cup squad. I mean, it's incredible the depth of the Brazilian.
I think it was a natural thing because the players are still with their minds in the loss and trying to set up for the new season. So I think it was okay not to bring them, but nobody understands why these kids were not there, especially because they are the basis of Santos. Great team and playing well together and sync and great chemistry.
But what impressed me the most, that we saw United States during the World Cup, and United States was a very good team. And last Tuesday, it seems a friendly game where Brazil were playing against a second division team. So I guess it's the only team in the world that can do that. There is no Spain, there is no Italy, no Germany. No one can play against another team and be so superior as Brazil is with other teams.
With all the responsibility and the weight of winning the game, they can just strive. Let's go for a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the other friendlies that happened during the week and European soccer.